Tomol. This is the name the Chumash of coastal Southern California gave to the canoes they made. Like many coastal peoples, they made watercraft. But why are these important? The answer is that they are the only examples of Sown plank canoes in the Americas, with the only other example being the Cunco people of the Gulf of Coronado in Chile. This complex boat building has led to many outlandish theories that there may be a connection to the Polynesians and their boat building traditions, but this could be explored in a future video, even if there are holes in any theory postulated about the subject. Nonetheless, however this craft came about, it can't be argued how important this watercraft was to the peoples who created them, and how it evolved alongside the socio-political system they had established throughout the California coast. Before the Tomol, it is believed the peoples of the coast used tule reed boats to get around from place to place down the coast, with theories that the paleocoastal peoples, the earliest known culture in California, used these to reach the ancient landmass called Santa Rosa. While these light craft would get the job done of transporting commerce along the coast and the Channel Islands, they needed something sturdier to help them go further out to sea and harvest the bountiful sea life, as well as carry more goods to and from the islands and coast. Large redwood trunks would drift down south from Northern California. They reached Southern California, where the Chumash began to carve them into ocean-going canoes that are called Tomols. The first evidence of the Sown plank canoe in the archaeological record is somewhat difficult to pinpoint, since much of the material used to construct a Tomol is perishable. Very little remains, save for a few preserved redwood planks whose shape stands out in the archaeological record compared to other repurposed redwood driftwood. It is believed the first Sown plank canoes were created in around 500 to 600 AD, more likely the former, although there is some contention with dating redwood fragments, as these trunks must have been hundreds of years old by the time they had floated their way to Southern California. It has also been postulated that the date of creation of the first Tomol goes back 500 years, based on the discovery of a swordfish headdress, the significance being that swordfish are deep-sea fish, which would have required ocean-going vessels like the Sown plank canoe. The Tomol took around 500 days to create, with a length of 6 to 7 meters, or around 20 to 22 feet, with some even reaching 9 meters or 30 feet. It had the capacity to carry 2 tons of cargo and up to 12 passengers. The redwood planks of the canoe were sewn with tok, twisted red milkweed fibers. To make them watertight, they would be caulked with an asphaltum pine pitch mixture called woko. According to John P. Harrington's Chumash informants, the best and only usable source for a, quote, dry tar was found around Santa Barbara. That was the only tar suited for caulking Tomols. It is also believed they were decorated and painted with red ochre and inlaid with owl and shell, although no hard proof has been found. What tools were used to make the Tomol? While it is difficult to ascribe any tool found to canoe making, there have been some artifacts found that may have had that use. To split wood, it is theorized, stone and shell adzes were used to cut the driftwood, with any excess whittled down for other uses, such as to create boxes, ritual poles, or knife handles. Macro drills are also believed to have been used for drilling the planks, only found in coastal Chumash areas, even though those found have both shell and wood residue, meaning they may have been multi-purpose. But a study conducted on a sample of these drills found the wear and diameter correlated with the plank holes of a Tomol. One study found that it would have taken 144 planks to create a 20-foot-long Tomol, with an average of 10 holes per plank. Tomol making does not usually stand out in the archaeological record, but one site, located on Santa Cruz Island, in the village of Shawa, SCRI 192, 280 pieces of unhewn redwood were found, a record for any Chumash site. Large quantities of asphaltum were also found nearby, suggesting it was used as a site for canoe building, rather than for sealing, basketry, or any other use. Large asphaltum cakes and tar containers were also found alongside 6 sandstone slabs covered in asphaltum, and most noteworthy, a stone tamping tool believed to have been used to press the tar into the holes of the planks, with 1,200 asphalt plugs that most likely fell off the canoes. No other site on the Southern California coast is more blatantly a Tomol building site than Shawa. Because of the time, labor, and expertise put into the creation of a Tomol, it is no surprise that they were reserved for the elite of Chumash society, specifically chiefs and wealthy individuals who were involved in trade. It is said that those who owned a Tomol were draped in a bearskin to distinguish themselves. The rise of the Tomol becoming a status symbol is believed to have occurred during the 1100s to 1300s AD, when a change occurred in native Southern California and a new system emerged. After much violence, peace seemed to have been achieved through economic means and a new trading system that brought the peoples of coastal Southern California together, as well as new technologies and new fishing techniques. The elite of Chumash society saw this and used the opportunity to seize the Tomol as a status symbol. Trade grew. Great strands of shell beads, the currency of native Southern California, were shared back and forth between the coasts and islands, given as gifts. The Tomol was also used for fishing in the open ocean, with marlin, swordfish, tuna, and mako sharks, to name a few, now appear in the middens, caught with the sturdy Tomols and new fishing techniques that would have been previously impossible to accomplish with a tule reed boat. A new culture arose centered around the Tomol. It is also important to mention that a new secret society was established around the canoes, known as the Brotherhood of the Tomol, a group of elites who were knowledgeable in every aspect of the creation of the Sown plank canoes, from when and where to harvest the materials to its building. Tomol effigies also appear in the archaeological record carved out of soapstone. Through trade, the technology of the Sown plank canoe also spread to the Tongva, a Nutoastecan-speaking people who were located south of the Chumash. They called their Sown plank vessels the Tiat. When Cabrillo, the first European to witness the cultures of the California coast, arrived in 1542 off Catalina Island, he was impressed at the watercraft the peoples made, noting they carried around 8 to 13 people. Father Crespi also noted in 1769, near Carpinteria, that the area, quote, looked like a shipyard, unquote. This is where the name Carpinteria comes from, since it resembled a workshop. With the arrival of the Europeans, the Chumash were forced into the mission system, where many died from disease and the brutality they were subject to. Yet they still maintained many aspects of their culture. The Brotherhood of the Tomol persisted until 1834, when they disbanded. The same year the missions were secularized by the Mexican government. It wouldn't be until the late 19th and early 20th centuries that the ethnographers became interested in the cultures of California. One important individual was found. Not only did he preserve the stories and legends of his people, he was also one of the last men alive who, as a boy, witnessed the creation of a Tomol. His name was Fernando Librado. Born at Mission San Buenaventura to two Chumash parents from the island of Santa Cruz. His testimony was key in the recreation of a Sown plank canoe in 1912 for John Peabody Harrington. To this day, beginning in 2001, every year members of the Northern Chumash Band create an accurate Tomol and depart from the port in Oxnard early in the morning to reach Santa Cruz Island. That represents them returning to where they were created before they crossed the Rainbow Bridge. This tradition is a symbol of the perseverance and continuation of indigenous California traditions that go back centuries and are still practiced to this day.